Hello folks. Well, after a very stressful video yesterday, I think today is time to relax, sit back and look at some 10th edition rules, or at least some of the previews that we've got coming out. Today is Space Marines because they are the post child of Warhammer 40,000, so I thought it was best to get them out the way before we move on to any other armies. And later on this week, we should have a few very interesting videos. We have Hobby Nightmares tomorrow, and then on Thursday, maybe Friday, we'll be doing a special video on how Games Workshop treats your local friendly hobby store. As in, how do they talk to them, how do they give them stock, things like that. So we're going to have a few managers who are going to answer some of my questions, and from there I will be building a video around that. So, interesting stuff. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below, the Patreon button is also down below, and if you're going to buy any models, head over to Composite Games, use the promo code Northern Exile down below to get yourself 5% off at checkout. Right, let's jump into it, shall we? Because it is a rather, shall we say, interesting article. Let's jump in. It's from the 2nd of May, so it's a few weeks ago now. Again, we are behind the 8 ball with these things, but what's new? What's new? So, faction focus, Space Marines. So how are they going to look in 10th edition? Let's have a little look-see. So, Space Marines are the undisputed poster boys of Warhammer 40,000. We've said that already in this video. They're the mightiest warriors humanity can offer, further augmented by ancient gene science to forge perfect soldiers clad in formidable armour. The result is the Space Marine chapters, each an elite cadre of the toughest, fastest, and most ruthless warriors the galaxy has ever seen. So, in the first of our ongoing series of 100% definitely biased-free faction spotlights, I like how they're doing this. That they're tacitly admitting that they have biases to certain people, like Space Marines, for instance. We're going to find out why the Adeptus Astartes are simply the best. There we go, right? So, again, Games Workshop want you to buy Space Marines. They want you to go and buy Space Marines. They want every single army to be Space Marines. And if that's the case, then they can continue building these kits and giving you these things for forever, essentially, right? They love Space Marine armies. Fun fact, I never used to when I was a kid. I was an Eldar player. I used to look at Space Marines and think that they were a bit meh, to be honest with you. That they were a bit average, a bit normal. I never wanted to be normal, so I went and did Eldar instead. As I've gotten older, though, I've sort of appreciated the sculpts a lot more as I've gotten old and curmudgeonly. And they're easier to paint as well. Just is what it is. So, Space Marines have always been the toughest warriors around, and they once again live up to the legend on the tabletop. Many units, such as Terminators, Centurions, and those wearing Mark 10 Gravis armour, now have higher toughness, while a game-wide reduction in armour penetration makes power armour feel as tough as it should be. Okay, again, there is a game-wide reduction in armour penetration, that is true. But what they are also tacitly admitting there is that weapons will have a very tough time breaking through the hulls of most vehicles. We've said it before in these videos, right? Land Raiders, Lehman Russes, things like that, they will not be punctured by a lot of firepower in this game. It is a very armour-heavy game at this point. And, yes, it makes things like power armour more stable on the tabletop. It's not going to go down as quickly as it used to. But I'm telling you now, like vehicles are going to be part of the meta going forwards. A big part of it. And while rerolls to hit and wound are much rarer now, Space Marines have access to reflect their elite status, chiefly through the Oath of Moment faction ability. Your warriors may be few, but they're terrifyingly efficient angels of death. Let's have a little look at that Oath of Moment. It's down here, isn't it? Yeah, from ages ago. If your army faction is Adeptus Astartes, at the start of your command phase, select one unit from your opponent's army. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model from your army makes this ability, makes an attack that targets the enemy unit, you can re-roll the to hit roll, and you can re-roll the to wound roll. So, I had somebody in the comments of that video, where I covered this, saying that was way overpowered. And when I look back at it, I did a bit of testing on Tabletop Simulator, just with the current rules. So if we inject this into the current rules of 9th edition, how would it act? It's incredibly powerful. Like, re-rolling your to hit roll, re-rolling your to wound roll on certain units is incredibly powerful. You are that is a delete button. That is a army-wide delete button. You say that's gone. I don't want to deal with that anymore. So every single person, imagine you have a bolter doctrine list, and you have like 40 to 60 bolters on the field, or bolt weapons on the field, right? Rapid firing, all that fun stuff, and they're all getting rerolls to hit and rerolls to wound against the unit that they're all firing at. That unit's gone, and that's not even one of the most powerful weapons in the game. That's a bog standard bolt gun. And that model is gone. Whatever is there is gone. I don't care if it's a tank. I don't care if it's a character. I don't care what it is. It's gone, right? Again, that's the kind of firepower you need to bring to get rid of tanks. I assume, going into the new edition, because that's what they've shown us. But it is still a woefully overpowered tactic, is the army. If this was a one-use stratagem, right? Quite an expensive stratagem that you used once a turn, that's fine, you know, but this is an army rule. This is army-wide, and you always have access to it, right? You can do it once a turn, and everybody on the field has access to it. A bit overpowered. It is. Like, I'm not going to say it isn't. It is. Okay. Especially if rerolls are really rare. If rerolls are really rare, you know, Chaos Space Marine should get something very similar to this. But I would actually have it. So Chaos Space Marine should get like Veterans of the Long War, where they get this, but only against Loyalist Adeptus Astartes models, right? That's what they should get. Anyway, moving on. Space Marines are organised into self-contained chapters, which must be highly self-sufficient in the field. The standard doctrine of the Codex Astartes emphasises flexibility, as exemplified by the Gladius Task Force detachment. This battle-tested formation is available to every Space Marine chapter, whether they are slavish adherents to the Codex Astartes or something a little more eccentric. Hello, Space Wolves and people like that. The detachment rule for the Gladius Task Force is Combat Doctrines, which gives players the choice of 3 powerful disciplines to focus on at the start of their command phase. These can really turn the tide at a critical moment. Now, remember to marry these rules into this rule, okay? That's how the 10th edition is going to work. These detachment rules that you're going to be getting for every army, right, is going to be melding into your army rules. They should complement quite well. So when we're balancing these in terms of power in our heads, that's what we're thinking of, okay? Right. So, Combat Doctrines. At the start of your command phase, you can select one of your combat doctrines listed below. Until the start of your next command phase, that combat doctrine is active, and its effects apply to all Adeptus Astartes units from your army with this ability. You can only select each combat doctrine once per battle. Okay. So, this is at most 3 turns of stuff to do. Thing is, though, I know people are going to say, well, you can only do it once, there's only 3 turns of really powerful things that you can do. Yes, but most battles are over by turn 4. Turn 4 or 5 or 6, right? Every battle is 4, 5, 6 turns. One of those. Battles are normally, let's be honest, a 2,000 point battle or 1,500 point battle is normally, you know who's going to win by the end of turn 3. You've got a good idea anyway, you know? That's why these are here. Okay. So, Devastator Doctrine. The Codex Astartes explained in detail the strategic value of overwhelming firepower applied to key targets, while advancing into position in order to eliminate threats and create tactical openings. Okay, so this unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it advanced. Yeah, okay. Okay. That's not too bad. Yeah, you could do it with a Devastator squad, you could do it with Centurions, things like that. Okay. That's powerful, but it's only 1 unit. That's fine. But, let's marry this in to the Oath of Moment. Okay? Let's say you've done an Oath of Moment on an Imperial Knight, and then you have a Devastator squad of 5 las cannons, and you're running them up. And so you move 6 inches, then you roll an advance roll, and you roll a 6. They've now moved 12 inches, right? They've moved 12 inches to get into line of sight, get into range of this Imperial Knight. Now you have 5 las cannon shots, hitting on 3s, re-rolling, wounding on, say, 4s, re-rolling. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty badass. Tactical Doctrine. As the warring armies close upon one another and vicious firefights erupt, the Codex lays out strategies for swiftly seizing the initiative and combining versatility with firepower. Okay? This unit that you've selected is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Flexible. Okay, that's cool. I like that this isn't just a bog standard thing that Ultramarines get now, where they could fall back and do whatever they wanted. It's now an actual thing you need to use on a single unit. I don't mind that. I can only be used once per battle. Okay, you can only select one tactical doctrine once per battle. So, wait, rewind. Until the start of your next command phase, that combat doctrine you selected is active, and its effects apply to all Adeptus Astartes units from your army with this ability. And they all have that ability. Holy shit. Okay, this has jumped up several layers in terms of power. Okay. I'm not going to lie, I was underwhelmed. No, I'm not. This is ridiculous. So every unit in your army, essentially, if you use the Devastator Doctrine, you can run with all of your units and still shoot as if they hadn't run. That's insane. That is insane. Okay, and they can shoot, declare a charge in a turn in which they fell back. Again, one unit, this would be pretty good, pretty powerful. 2 units, really good, really powerful. Every unit you have can do this. That's insane. That's incredible. The Assault Doctrine. The Codex Astartes leave no doubt that the killing blow in most engagements must be delivered with a decisive close-quarters strike. It presents plentiful tactical means to achieve this end. Okay. This unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. That's literally the chapter tactic of the Astral Blades. Okay, our entire chapter tactic is, if we deep strike, then we can charge 3d6, not 2, right? If we deep strike in. And you can select certain units, and you can charge after you've advanced, essentially. This is also, was used with the White Scars as well, in the last edition, in 9th edition. And the White Scars could also charge after they advanced. So they could advance and charge. Which meant that they were incredibly quick at getting across the tabletop. Especially with bikes and things like that. All Space Marines now have access to, essentially, the most powerful rules from the White Scars here, in Assault Doctrine. The most powerful rules from the Ultramarines, in the Tactical Doctrine. And the most powerful rules from things like Salamanders and things like that. In the Devastator Doctrine and the Imperial Fists. So every single powerful rule that every single that the more specialised chapters had in the last edition, now all of your Marine armies can do it, at least for one turn. That's incredible. That's awesome. And it makes me think, what are they going to do with specific chapters going forwards? Like, what are the chapter tactics going to be? Because there will be, dedicated chapter tactics for certain chapters. That's what they love doing. That will be the case. When you get a Codex, White Scars or whatever, it will have its own chapter tactics in there. If we get one, we might not get one. But in the Space Marine Codex, I'm telling you now, this is what's going to happen, right? These are your bog standard rules that you get on release for free, okay? That we're reading now. These are insane. These are cool. These will be nothing compared to the chapter tactics that you get in Codex Space Marines. Codex Space Marines will cost £35 to £40, and in there you will get combat. You will get actual chapter tactics for Salamanders, White Scars. They'll have a rule or two just for them. That replaces one of these with a much more powerful variant. So, let's say the White Scars will have Devastator Doctrine as normal, Tactical Doctrine as normal, but the White Scars Assault Doctrine will be much more powerful. As in, it'll be, this unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced, that's true, but also, it gets +2 attacks when it does so, right? It'll be something like that. That's where I think they're going. And the Imperial Fists will be, this unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it advanced, but also it'll be like, they get -2 AP, an extra -2 AP. It'll be things like that that make these rules much more powerful because you paid the money for your codex. This is what I mean by, yes, the main rules give you a lot of options, but when you face somebody with an actual codex, they stand to beat you because they've got a much more clear advantage over your rules. Even though all they've got is a few more options, right? Okay. That's my prediction of how this is going to go. These are powerful enough, but I'm telling you now, when the codexes come in, then the shit will hit the fan when it comes to balance. Each of these combat doctrines only works once per battle, so choose wisely. Combined with the Oath of Moment that all Space Marine armies get, you can rally and unleash a hellacious strike on dangerous foes at the critical moment. Sudden decapitating strikes are a Space Marine specialty, and they're now so good at it that your opponent won't even have time to ask how your Terminators got so far up his grill. That's true. I mean, one thing I will say, these rules are really powerful, but they are reading like Space Marines. I will say that. They are reading like Space Marine. They're reading as in, oh, this is a Space Marine, this is how it fights, right? I'm getting that. No problem. Alright. Unit Spotlights time. What can be said about the Land Raider? This vulnerable transport is to regular tanks what a Space Marine is to regular humans. A huge, infectable demigod of a machine that protects its passengers just as well as it fights back, ferrying heavy weapons and heavier troops into battle. The assault ramp is back, dropping cargoes of Terminators, aggressors, or whatever else you choose right into the thick of things, ready to charge. Okay, right. Let's have a look. Godhammer Las Cannon, yeah, movement 10. It's a bit slower than last time. Movement 10, toughness 12. I mean, that's really good. Save 2+, wounds 16, leadership 6+, and 5 objectives secured. Okay. Okay. Assault ramp. Each time a unit disembarks from this model, after it made a normal move, this unit is eligible to declare a charge this turn. Fair enough. Quite like that. Godhammer Las Cannon. Everything seems pretty standard, to be honest. There's been a jump in power in a few of these things, but not too much that I can see on there. It has the same damage track as the Baneblade, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Unit comparison: 1 Lion Raider. This unit is equipped with a heavy bolter, 2 Godhammer Las Cannons, and armored tracks. Fine. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Transport. This model has a transport capacity of 12 Adeptus Astartes infantry models. Each Jump Pack, Wolfen, or Gravis or Terminator model takes up the space of 2 models, and each Ensuri model takes up the space of 3 models. That's fine. Okay, so your Primaris Marines can now get inside of Land Raiders, it seems. And I hope that your normal Marines can now get inside of Primaris tanks, which would be really, really cool. I believe they already can, but I'm not too sure. I've not played a game in like a couple of months. But yeah, seems powerful. Doesn't seem like it's had a huge jump in power. It's going to be really tough brick to get rid of, but at the same time, that's kind of the point of a Land Raider. So I'm going to let it off for that. You know, it's a Land Raider at the end of the day. It should be really, 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 really tough to get rid of. So, a few units in the Space Marine roster are as big and powerful as a Land Raider, but the Primarch of the Ultramarines certainly fits the category. Rabute Gilliman is as tough as a tank and twice as deadly, even before we factor in his superhuman spreadsheet of skills. The Lord Commander of the Imperium is a strategic genius par excellence, switching up his abilities every turn to make sure he's always supporting his men as best he can. Another great way to support the troops is by turning your enemies to paste. Afate Gilliman is only too happy to meet out with the Hand of Dominion and Emperor's Sword. Okay. Alrighty. So Hand of Dominion is pretty cool. It's the same as last time. It seems pretty much same stat line. Emperor's Sword has devastating wounds, which are pretty cool. We read about that last time. And has 4... Whoa. Hold the phone. It has 14 attacks. 14 attacks. 2+, weapon skill 8, minus 3 AP, damage 2. Okay. If he's this powerful, I'm dreading to think what things like Angron are going to look like. In fact, I might do World Eaters next. Because I just out of morbid curiosity of how many attacks Angron's going to get. He needs to get more than 14. If he make 14, bear in mind, I come from a time in 40k, right? I come from a time when 6 attacks for a single model was considered rather excessive, right? 14 attacks with a strength 8 minus 3 AP weapon, hitting on 2s. And you're probably re-rolling as well, because of your doctrines and stuff. Okay. Yeah, he has all the strategist stuff. That's fine. That's Gilliman. You know, that's what he does. Once per turn, you can target one friendly Adeptus Astartes unit within 12 of this model with a stratagem for 0 CP, and can do so even if another unit in your army has already been targeted with that stratagem this phase. Pretty powerful, but it has to be within 12 inches of him, so it's another aura ability. Not a huge fan of aura abilities, and this is why I don't use Gilliman, mainly because, you know, I don't really like Ultramarines that much, and Gilliman is an aura ability Primarch, at least he was in 9th edition. It certainly seems that quite a lot of his, at least 2 of his 3 main abilities for support troops are aura focused, and so not really my thing. But, right. Armour of Fate, though. The first time this model is destroyed, roll 1d6 at the end of the phase. On a 3+, set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible as to where it was destroyed, and not within engagement range of any enemy models, with 6 wounds remaining. That's horrible. That is horrible. Oh no, he's a wrecking ball. But if this is why I'm kind of not sure how things are going to go. Because if Gilliman's got 14 attacks, just with the Emperor's Sword, 14 attacks, what in the hell is going to happen to Angron? If Angron doesn't have, like, 26 attacks, that's immoral. You know, like, Gilliman should not have more attacks than Angron. That just shouldn't happen, you know? Like, Angron shouldn't hit as hard, you know? In fact, no, he should hit just as hard, but he should be more papery, right? Gilliman should be more of a he can take more of a hit than Angron, right? But Angron should be a wrecking ball. It should just be literally fire him at a Primarch level thing, watch it disappear. I'm quite worried about that 14 attacks, but that might be me not reading any of the other rules. Again, this is what you're getting from me at the moment. I do have other rules to read in this series going forward, so maybe my opinion will change. Right now, though, yeah, that's a bit... 10 wounds, though. 10 wounds can get chewed through quite quickly, especially by another Primarch model. If you have somebody like Angron who's got 20 attacks, and it does 2 damage each, he can easily chew through Gilliman, you know? Same thing goes for las cannons, you know, grav cannons, things like that. Melters could easily chew through him. It's just... Ooh, he's a wrecking ball. Okay, moving on. Okay, Weapon Spotlight. This is the Heavy Onslaught. And it has devastating wounds. Heavy Onslaught Cannon has devastating wounds ability, causing it to deal mortal wounds on critical wound rolls. So if you roll a 6 to hit, you get mortal wounds. Same thing goes for the Emperor's Sword as well. If you roll a 6 to hit, you get a mortal wound. Cool. If you roll a 6 to wound, yeah, roll a 6 to wound, you get a mortal wound. Anyway, it has a range of 24. That's been nerfed, I think. Wasn't it 36 last time? I swear it was 36 last time. So it's got nerfed a little bit there. 24, 12 attacks, weapon skill, ballistic skill 3+. So you hit 3's to hit. Ballistic skill should just be gone. It should just be to hit, right? Just to hit. Put TH there, to hit. That'd be fine. Armor, attacks 12. Ballistic skill 3+. Strength 6, AP 0, damage 1. That's fine. You know, it's not great, but it's fine. It's relying on that devastating wounds to do all of its damage, to be honest with you. With vehicle toughness going way up in the new edition, certain anti-tank weapons have become more specialised against improved armour, while others have seen a boost in strength. In the latter category is the Heavy Laser Destroyer atop of the Repulsor Executioner, a perfect expression of the Space Marines' martial might. Or, for extra fun, point 1 at a Termagant and watch it disappear like magic. Its range is 72. It gets 2 attacks, a ballistic skill 3, a strength of 16. That's cool. That's punching through. That's punching through a lot of armor. I think it's a 4+. If you're firing that at a Land Raider, which is probably one of the toughest things you're going to get, You're wounding on 3s. Okay, so you're wounding on 3s against the Land Raider. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Its AP is -4, which means the Land Raider has now got a 6+ save. I think it's got an invulnerable save, but I'm not. I think it does have an invulnerable save. Does it not? No, it doesn't. Okay. So, it is now on a 6+ save, and your damage is D6 + 4. Yeah, that's really powerful. That's really powerful. You could take down. Okay, right. My worries are eased slightly. The thing is, this is a Space Marine tank firing on a Space Marine tank. Okay, this heavy laser destroyer could indeed take out a Land Raider in 1 or 2 shots. That's great. But what about Xenos weapons? This is what I'm anxious to get into. I want to see that every single army in the game has some sort of reply to this armor jump that we've seen in the game. Now, you've got to be very careful, because armor jumps, if you're giving tanks a jump in armor, you're basically destroying that part of your planning if you give every weapon in the game ultra high AP and it's able to do all sorts of damage to tanks, right? That's not what we want. What we want is specialized units that are there to take down tanks, should reliably chew through them in 1 to 2 turns of shooting, right? If the other person is stupid enough to line them up in your line of sight and put them within range of your better abilities when it comes to those weapons, they should be losing their tank in 1 to 2 turns of shooting. That's just how it is. That's how it would work in combat, right? If I left my arse hanging in the air in terms of combat with a unit that isn't very good at combat, they would be squished in a single charge, right? Same thing should happen to tanks if they are within range of something like this. They should be being melted off the field because the other person has not been careful enough with their tanks. Tanks should not be a one-size-fits-all, haha, I'm going to run anywhere on the field and do whatever I want card, right? They should be hard countered by certain things on the tabletop. Just make those things more situational. And then, couple that with the boost in armor that you've given tanks, you are now seeing a much more balanced game where tanks are going to survive quite a long time. Again, if you've got a tank armor, you'll survive a long time against the Astral Blades because we don't like using long-range weaponry. We think it's dishonourable, so we don't really use it. Is that stupid? Yes. Is it fun? No. Not for me, but it is very thematic, and you know how much of a storyteller I am, you know how much how I like the narrative side of 40k, so that means a lot to me. But if you have a lot of armor, I'm going to really struggle chewing through that, because I'm going to be hitting your armor with swords. But hey, you know, it is what it is. You don't come here for a serious opinion, guys. You know I'm a narrative player, right? I'm not a tournament guy. Alright, stratagem spotlight. There's now a smaller, more focused slate on unique stratagems for each faction. The Gladius Task Force will provide 6 crucial options, which distill the essence of the Adeptus Astartes, like the old favourite, Only in Death Does Duty End. Okay. So when Only in Death Does Duty End, I like this one. I used to like it anyway. So for 2 CP, when fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. So, if I'm fighting you, you're an orc and you're charging me, you selected who you're going to be going with first, I go, I'm playing 2 CP, Only Death to Duty End. Right. 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacks, of the attacking unit's attack. So, whatever you're attacking, I'm selecting that and I'm using this on it, right? Cool. Effect. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit is destroyed, if that model has not fought this phase, do not remove it from play. The model can fight back after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks, and is then removed from play. Awesome. So, it's an epic deed stratagem, that's cool. You can use it on characters, I'm thinking. Target, yeah, Adeptus Astartes unit, so you can do it on Gilliman, you can do it on any of your characters, that's fine. That is pretty powerful. Especially if you know he's going to go down. You're like, okay, I've got a unit of Assault Marines here, I've got a unit of Close Combat Terminators. I know Angron's going to mulch these things, so I'm playing Only in Death to Duty End. He mulches all of them in his first attack phase. He goes in on the charge, kills them all. Okay, they now get to attack back, and they could take off double digits wounds from him. They could even kill him, you know? I love these types of stratagems, and I really hope that they are more like this in the game going forwards, but I also really hope that there aren't too many of them, because this could really, really, really slow down a game of 40k going forwards. As I've said, each army should have access to 2 or 3 across the board, right? And then you should have 3 or 4 of your own chapters, stratagems to choose from. That's it. You should have 5 to 6. That's it. Those the only things you should be remembering in terms of stratagems. We don't want the game getting bloated. We don't want the game slowed down. But what you have to remember is when this drops, when this comes out, this is the lowest amount of stratagems that's ever going to be in 10th edition. Because new ones will come out with codexes. So this is the least amount of stratagems we will ever have. This is why I'm saying they may be simplifying it at the start of the edition to get everybody's morale up and get them excited for codexes, so you'll buy them. But I'm telling you now, when codexes start coming out, the bloat will start to appear. It's just a natural way of things, okay? Alright, so now we have a word from the studio, and that's it for this, okay? They're now trying to sell you some books. One of them is a Space Wolf book. So, we're skipping that one and going all the way back to the start. I like the way that we're seeing certain things in 10th edition coming out. I like the way that we are seeing the way that they're going to be balancing the toughness of vehicles against the strength of your weapons. I think certain rules within Space Marines are cracked. Like these are really strong. And it makes me really think that I should be doing more of these videos a week to get through this quicker. Because I need to read now what the Chaos version of these are, what the Tyranid versions are, we kind of know what the Tyranid versions are, what the Orc versions are, what all of these other Xenos and other races are going to get. Because if they're not as powerful as this, again, as I just said, right out of the gate now, as a Space Marine player, you get access to all the most powerful chapter tactics from the last edition. You get access to they're written a bit differently, but they're still there, right? You get access to the White Scars one, the Ultramarines one, and the Imperial Fists one, straight out of the gate. You don't need to even be that faction, and you can switch and choose and flop and choose between them as you go through the battle, which is even more powerful. You don't get to use one of them once, but still, you know what I mean? It's incredibly powerful. Dude, and Marines are the shit. And I'm quite glad that I've got 2 armies of them. Anyway, love you a long time. I will speak to you soon. If you've heard anything about how things are going in 10th edition with other armies, please let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the comment section which army I should cover next from the spotlights. Love you all. Speak to you then. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See ya. Bye.